So there I am. The boat is moving. The water is moving. Everything is moving. And I have to fly.
Right. Welcome back to another episode of the Pilots of the Caribbean podcast, where we discuss everything drones and how they're being used in the Caribbean. I am your host, Alan Gabriel, and I'll be bringing you everything from the latest industry news and technologies to its most innovative applications. If you're new here, you can find this podcast wherever you get your podcast, and you can also find us on YouTube. You can also follow the podcast on any social media platforms to get up to date with our latest news and updates. So, on to today's episode. Well, we have a good one for you this week. All right, so we're going to start this week's episode off as we usually do with our news of the week. And if it's one thing you could always count on, is Jamaica for some good drone news. So started in Jamaica this week. Imagine you are in a corporate area in Jamaica and getting your meals delivered to you by drone. There's one restaurant owner that is trying to make this dream a reality. So this gentleman by the name of Mr. Michael Palmer has dreams of making a drone delivery part of his business, Kingston Blends. This 28-year-old CEO has been looking into utilizing drone delivery to replace motorcycle delivery for his food business. He said the use of motorcycles as couriers is a popular method of transporting meals in Jamaica, especially in the corporate areas where the roads could be congested and they have a lot of traffic. He said that while a motorcycle could guarantee speedy delivery, it presents a whole lot of risk to the riders, and he was convinced that there was a better way. So he began researching the possibility of incorporating drone delivery into his business. So right now he is at the development stage of this project. So he's looking at how much load the drones could carry, looking at how safely he could get it done. I believe he's also in talks with the authorities to see what the regulations and how they would work around it. But it would be interesting to see if Jamaica would be the first country in the region to implement drone delivery for meals. Stay tuned to this and we will let you know if we get any more updates. But as usual, the links to the article will be in the description. Next up, Barbados hitting us again with drone light shows. And this one was a big one. Drone light show took place at the launch of the Cibc Caribbean brand at St. Michael's, Barbados last week. It was estimated that the drone light show comprises of approximately 500 drones and went as far as to create standstill traffic in Barbados while it was going on. I will have a link to the entire article so you can actually take in the drone show light show production. It is approximately 9 minutes long, and it is wonderful to see this kind of stuff happening in the Caribbean. And we hope to see more of it in the future. Speaking of drone light shows, this is the first time in the history of this podcast that we'll be able to announce a drone light show before it happens. So previously, we've just spoken about light shows after the fact, and we've shown you the video of it. Now we're going to be telling you about an upcoming drone light show. So Grenada is celebrating the 50th anniversary of its independence. And as such, as part of their celebrations, they will be holding a drone light show on Thursday night, as the day after this episode comes out. That will be Thursday, the 8th of February, 2024. Grenada will celebrate its 50th independence, and they have an entire day jam-packed with celebrations. So they are asking all persons that are in Grenada that want to be a part of the celebration to get there early, because they are looking at a parade that starts at 2. They have some other activities planned, some cultural presentations. There'll be a concert. And they are hoping to have everything wrapped up by 7:30 so that they could get the drone light show started. As of the time of this recording, I don't have a link to where you will be able to view the drone light show. But if I do get one, I will make sure to add it to the description and update the episode. And if we don't, I will make sure to add it to next week's news articles so you can take it in if you didn't get a chance to view it. But I'm sure if we do a quick Google, we might be able to get a link for it. And that was all news for the week. Hope you guys enjoyed it. So next up, into this week's episode, I'm bringing you another interview. And this interview comes out of Guyana. And our guest this week refers to himself as a pandemic pilot. He started flying during the pandemic. There was a need that he saw and a space that needed filling. And he was able to fill that void and provide a service and kept it going and saw the need to keep it going and has continued flying to this day and building and growing his company. So he is a GIS enthusiast and is excited about the intersection of using cutting-edge technology and spatial intelligence. He enjoys all aspects of from flying to mapping and has a passion for navigating the skies and unlocking the power of geospatial data. Welcome to the podcast this week, Mr. Brian Smith of Dragonfly Drone Solutions, Guyana.
Hi, Brian, and thank you for coming on the Pilots of the Caribbean podcast. How are you doing today?
Thank you for having me. Not too bad at all. A little busy, but we make it work.
Yeah, I know how it is sometimes. I know the drone life could get you.
Yes, especially on the weekend.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so let's get right into it. So Brian, let us know, how did you first get started into the world of drones and drone technology?
All right. Actually, I refer to myself as a pandemic pilot. Whilst I know drones were around for a little bit, being commercially available since 2015, I didn't get involved in it commercially until like just about the pandemic started. There was actually a case study where a guy was stuck in Canada, I think, couldn't get his vaccine in time and needed to have some progress reports on his farm in Guyana. And I was able to provide that information using a drone, and he paid me for the service. And I was like, okay, this can be something that is lucrative. And during that period, especially as persons got stuck, most of my clients came from his referral in the farming sector. Persons wanted to see what's happening with their equipment. Are the guys working? Is the land in the stage of preparation it should be? So that type of surveillance is how I started. And then from there, I continued my research, did my Part 107, and then started making my efforts to be locally licensed, for want of a better term. Because we don't have a license here, but we have permits to fly to allow me to operate in Guyana.
That's nice. Yeah, similar to us in Trinidad, we don't have a recognized license, but the Part 107 is recognized in Guyana as an official license.
It is, I would say it's persuasive. It shows competency, but you still obviously would want to adhere to our local laws. The Civil Aviation Authority is the regulatory body, and as such, they issue permits, and it is through them that you would have to be permitized before you can operate commercially, legally.
Okay. That's some good stuff to get to know. So what has been your most fun part since you've been doing this and you call yourself the pandemic pilot? I'm going to steal that, by the way. I like that.
What has been the most fun part about it? I think drones in general, given the perspective that drones give you, oftentimes it's breathtaking views. You get a different appreciation or understanding of where you fit in, how things fit in at a larger scale. And also, when you go into communities and you see the little children come to you and they ask, Uncle, how does that work? How does that move? And they're so amazed when the drone goes in the air. They're like, how can I want to see as well, right? So those are the type of experiences that you get almost on a daily basis. Fortunately, in Guyana, we don't have some of those challenges like you would have in the US, where persons might shoot down your drone or so. So persons are usually more curious about the technology. That curiosity, seeing children come and want to explore, actually caused me to have a little vacation school program, the Dragonfly Drone Kids program, where I won't be flying forever, and there's going to be a new cohort of flyers almost every year. And I just want to be able to share with them some of those views, those perspectives, from indigenous communities, the mountains of Guyana, making Guyana the anthem real for them, and also doing my part in ensuring that they fly safe and understanding that this is a tool of technology, and you're in a shared airspace, and you need to fly safely and responsibly.
And you mentioned the Dragonfly kids. That's something that is off the ground already.
Yes, Dragonfly Drone Kids. Yeah, it's 2 years running. Last year I didn't get a chance to do it because actually last year I was in a competition, but a pitch competition. But it's 2 years running. We've been able so far to get just over 100 young people in at-risk communities, in East
Yes.
Rival community and bordering communities. And it was also sponsored by our local Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport. And we've been able to I would say, cultivate that interest in drones. And also, STEM is a big thing now, but also show them practically how an element of STEM and a part of STEM technology is used day to day. Sometimes children don't get that opportunity. They're building robots, but it's sometimes in an abstract. But through the Dragonfly Drone Kids program, they're able to see hands-on building a robot, understanding how it works, and seeing its application. Whether the child likes animals, look, we can use the drones for animal monitoring. Child likes trees, plants, nature. We were able to use drones to monitor trees, to see what type of trees are there. We can use drones for infrastructure, for construction, to monitor construction management. So that program, for me, I won't be surprised if 5 years from now, 4 years from now, somebody says, I first started from the Dragonfly Drone Kids, being a part of the drone fraternity.
And that's good, man. That's good that you have that impact on the young ones coming up in it, and that they're receiving it as that well as well.
Yeah,
That's something to look forward to, and hopefully, you could get to continue that and get some additional support to take it even
yes,
further down.
definitely. I mean, and I also will use the opportunity to commend you for doing this Pilots in the Caribbean podcasting, because I think that it's important. I don't want to say it's an unregulated sector, but it's a new sector to the region.
Right.
And the more we can share information, the more we can share training, the more we can ensure that we all operate in a safe framework. It's better for all of us. All right. I would be happy to if Dragonfly Drone Kids can go to across different islands and be able to show in their different communities how they can use drone technology to their benefit. Likewise, I would like to see drone pilots being able to move around the region, sharing knowledge, sharing skill sets, being able to enhance the reservoir of skills that we have in the region, rather than us necessarily having to outsource some of this training that we sometimes are forced to do.
Yeah, that is something that we look forward to as a community and the whole. What
Yep.
On that note, what does the drone landscape in Guyana look like?
Honestly, most drone pilots are in the real estate, photography, videography space.
Right.
I would want to say just about 70% of drone pilots, take photographs, take videos for clients. There's an emerging commercial space. I think it is only limited by the technical skills that are present, because commercial work is a bit more technical work and requires also significant capital investment in technical equipment.
Right.
So you're not spending thousands of US dollars to have a crash. So that space is now developing. So recently, ExxonMobil put out a request for information for pilots who can do inspection work on our gas to shore pipeline that should be coming on stream. We have an emerging agriculture sector, which is looking at mechanization. So you start talking about agricultural drones being used to spray pesticide and fertilizer. We have just about 2 companies who do that locally. And additionally, you have the side of surveillance and security, as crime fighting becomes more technical, as we out our smart city solutions. So that commercial space of offering commercial drone applications is growing. In its infancy say right now, but it's growing.
And in terms of your service offerings and the fleet that Dragonfly drones will have as part of their service offering, what does that look like?
Well, technology is something that needs to always be updated. Up to a few months ago, my workhorse was a Phantom 4 Pro. That did most of my surveying and photography. but that is now has been eclipsed
All right.
by the Mavic 3 Enterprise,
Okay.
which we've recently acquired. Currently, I use a Mavic 2 Pro that does inspection work, and also we're working with the M30 as an inspection drone as well. You see, the landscape is so dynamic that sectors are now requesting services that you
Mm-hmm.
might not necessarily have thought that would have wanted it. So, for example, you got somebody asking me for a power line inspection.
All right.
So I now got to look and see, okay, all right, can my Mavic 2 do this, or do I need to invest in proprietary in specialist equipment for this?
All right.
So I got like about, let's say, 4 workhorses, but I got to keep on top of the game. And with oil and gas now, you see M300s coming in, M350s
Mm-hmm.
coming in. So definitely that's shortly on the landscape for us to ensure that we have as a part of our arsenal of drones.
Nice. And could you personally give you a forward on the 350 and the 300? They are beasts of drones.
They're
Yeah.
a beast in price and a beast in capability, I'm sure.
That is very correct. So you mentioned, oil and gas coming on stream, but how does
Yeah.
your local regulator, the Civil Aviation for Guyana, how does their legislation or framework around the use of drones affect how you're able to operate and how the operation in general is able to be conducted in Guyana?
So the Civil Aviation Authority has a drone unit. I would
Okay.
say that it's staffed by young people, and as such, you're very
Mhm.
approachable. They listen, to concerns and suggestions that we have as drone pilots. Um, Again, because it's a new sector, we're still learning along the lines how we can work together. At the end of the day, the priority is safety, as it should be, safety disguise,
All right.
and that is
That is.
paramount. And we can't. There's no compromise on that. And as drone operators, we want to be able to function as a business. So I would say the relationship is good. I would say that I don't consider ourselves to be hindered by the regulations, and they continue to be a work in progress, and they continue to build on that relationship. Hopefully, in the future, we can see things like, for example, the Civil Aviation Authority at their end possibly um, having courses for drone pilots or collaborating with drone pilots to have courses so we can build on that relationship, so if somebody comes with, let's say, having done their drone piloting course from Dragonfly or from Guy Drones or from Caliper, then they're able to certify, like, yes, once we've gone through this process through these approved companies, then that process of getting your permit is simpler. So I, as a drone pilot, I look forward to this, and I'm sure most drone pilots look forward to the relationship that we have with the civil aviation.
And that's cool. And that's something that I think a lot of pilots regionally would like to see, some sort of license that is official and recognized,
Yeah,
if not just in their country locally, but throughout the region as well. Because there isn't anything
correct.
close to that that's available right now.
Correct. I don't think we have any
sad.
sort of licensing that let's say CARICOM, like a CARICOM regional drone licensing thing. But these things is going. It might take a bit of agitation, and it might take a little bit of youth to get these things
Get
started.
into those places.
Having
Yeah.
its drone association or talking together, because sometimes these things get lost in bureaucracy,
Yeah.
and the real fact of the matter is, if you're dealing with regional security versus drone pilots who want to operate, which was the priority? Regional security.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic. Given all that's happening in the region, that the influx of drones and the operations of drones and the opportunities of drones, everybody's looking to do things efficiently, is
Yeah.
going to persuade regional entities to make such a architecture or some sort of system in which we can operate across the region.
Like you mentioned, agriculture and of course surveying is one of the big uses of drones. But is there anything that you see in the future that drones are being used for that they aren't currently being used for right now?
In Guyana?
Yeah, in Guyana.
Well, Guyana is known as land of many waters. And I think that an untapped resource is hydrographic surveys using drones.
Okay.
So doing those surveys are extremely expensive. The size of the equipment, you essentially got to get boats with the equipment on it through the rivers. And I think that using drone technology for hydrographic surveying in a country that has so many waterways that are not surveyed, I think that's a potential future deployment of drone technology that we should capitalize on in the near to short future. You see, the blessings of oil is that there's so much activity happening and so many spill-off industries that are being created that things that may not have been a priority before will now become a priority. And you have the challenge of, in a short period of time, building out all of these things because oil is finite. Here's the time it's going to come to an end. And with this windfall, we have to be able to try to maximize as many things as we can to be able to increase access to hinterland communities, establish proper surveyed locations, be able to deliver medicine, critical supplies to far-flung areas. And what better way to provide those solutions than drone technology?
Yeah. And those are some of the major challenges that they would face right now, because right now to get something, because I was in Guyana early part of last year, and when I hear about what the interior is, what we call bush in Trinidad is nothing.
Uh-huh.
But what we call
Yeah.
rivers in Trinidad, when you see Demerara, is like,
Yeah.
you can't even see the other side when you stand up looking across. So was somebody
that's Essequibo.
the one with the floating bridge?
The floating bridge, that's Demerara. But if you can see the other side from Demerara. But the other river is Essequibo, where you can't see the other side.
Oh,
if you look
from
from
where I
one
was
side.
standing, I couldn't see anything looking across.
And that is a river?
So in Trinidad, we just have some big drains. That's a small one. Is all right. No, I can't imagine having to conduct certain types of operations and that kind of. It'll be a serious adjustment. But so was one of the most challenging jobs that you would have had to undertake on, given some of the conditions that you may have had to work with?
All right. The most challenging, most exciting, actually, so the Demerara River needs to be dredged because there's a little sandbar under it. So it's contracted by the Maritime Administrative Department to just do a little flyover of the cutter dredge that was doing the work at the Demerara River. I underestimated my anxiety because I could see the boat from the coast, and I could see the coast. I guess not that far. But then I went to the pilot boat, and we flew out, and we drove out, and I was like, okay, what are we stopping? And the day when we had to do the flight, we were 12 miles out from Georgetown. So there I am. The boat is moving. The water is moving. Everything is moving. And I have to fly.
Right.
Now, something that I discovered is that drone operations on the water is very different from drone operations on land, one. And two, drone operations on open water is very different from drone operations on land. So from the time that drone goes up above 3 meters, it's wind.
Yep.
It is just wind. And it was actually pretty cool, pretty nice. My nerves were on edge. I was tingling. But I got the shot done. It was, I think, I'm the only one or the one or two drone pilots who've ever done that shot. And I shared it to you as for your shot for the day. And it was just the most exciting experience I've had. Landing it was another challenge too, because drones have this, return to home feature where it's going to remember where it last took off from.
Yep.
So when I look at the map, where it last took off from is not where we are currently because we would have drifted. So we had to end up hand catching it because there was absolutely no way that I could have landed that on the boat.
Right.
And at that time, it was not the Phantom 4, it was the Mavic 2. So I was just a little concerned, like observers' fingers in the event.
Yeah.
Was slip. Fortunately, we all came out unscathed from the entire activity with some excellent shots.
Yeah, the Mavic 2 is a little bit of a learning curve when it comes to hand catching it. The first time is
Yes.
a little nerve wracking.
I've gotten nicked once, but once was good enough.
Yeah, once is all you need to learn that lesson.
Yes.
So you mentioned earlier that safety is paramount to all drone operations because it's always the one crash, and that's the biggest thing that you'll hear about for the next 5 years in the region.
Yep.
What's so many things that you put in place to ensure that you have safe operations?
All right, great. So in the earlies, when we started our research as to how to conduct drone operations, obviously you look for countries which have this established already. So the operations manual is something that we would have implemented very early. This is pre-flight checks, checking the weather, checking the airspace, what's happening in the airspace. So you are consistently monitoring the airspace at all times. All right. Maintenance of batteries, maintenance of equipment, logging incidents, whether or not it occurred with me or whether it's something that I saw. Because sometimes things are not there when you check the map beforehand. It might go after something has changed. So logging that. So what we've done is create a sort of manual. And it's also a requirement by the Civil Aviation Authority.
Okay, right.
Created a manual which spells out what we do before each operation, what we do during an operation, and what we do after an operation. In the real estate world, something that differentiates us from all the clients, other operators, is that we go to the immediate neighbors of the property and let them know, hey, drone operations are happening. You see my logo, you see my signage, I give you my card. Please don't be alarmed. It is possible that you will hear a drone above your house during this time and this time. So they're aware as to what is happening, and there's no need for them to be nervous or worried about is somebody spying on me or something like that. Yeah. So those are things that we've done to ensure that we're safe and also we mitigate some of the risks that can happen as a result of doing drone operations.
And you said those checklists and your operations manuals are mandatory?
Yeah, so once you do commercial operations, you are required to provide a operations manual. In the earlies when I started out the process, going through the process with the Civil Aviation Authority, these are some requirements. At first, it was like it's very onerous, and you're like, oh, why am I doing all of this? Right. And then, as you do it, you recognize the importance of doing it and keeping the skies safe.
Mm-hmm. And with how they have the other laws that apply to drone structure, do you find they are appropriate enough to maintain a certain level of safety while allowing you to operate any way that you need to? Or do they go far enough or not as far as they should? Or how do you find that is?
Again, I think it's a working relationship. I think that I think the laws currently do allow you to operate. Right? I don't think it necessarily is it's draconian, and I don't think it's draconian. Sometimes I think some more conversation needs to happen between the operators and the regulators. Right. So that we can be very clear on things. Sometimes you might end up in a situation whereas, for example, the police might come to you and ask you for a license, and you're like, hey, you don't have a license. Yeah. And somewhere along the line, he was told that drone operators have to have a license. So most of the challenges usually come with confusion or the information dissemination process. I think that's where most of it, not that the laws necessarily are incorrect or the laws are too stringent, but that the communication of the law sometimes gets lost. So pilots sometimes are confused as to what I can and cannot do. Enforcers are confused as to what I can and cannot do. And that relationship sometimes can become a little bit of a conflict. All of that, I actually expect the laws to get to have more laws coming out, because with international companies coming on board, the regulatory body has a duty to protect the airspace. So I expect more laws to come out which protect the airspace and also protect us domestic pilots and allow us to operate safely So I wouldn't say that the laws are in any way hampering or progress in any way.
So there's a good balance of it, and that's
Yeah,
always
it's
good.
just not working a
Yeah,
bit on the communication side.
yeah. And there's another thing that the international companies will also bring with them is they
Correct.
have certain standards
Yeah,
that they would operate with as well. So
yeah.
you'll find
So that
that
will help in
anything with
lifting
them,
the. Yeah.
correct? Yeah. So with that progress being made and different new industries that weren't present before coming on stream, what do you see for the future of drones in Guyana?
Ah, I think the future of drones in Guyana is going to be absolutely exciting. Look, DJI released the DJI Flycar 30,
Mm-hmm.
I think last year in China, but it became
Yeah.
I think, public a couple weeks
Last
back.
week or 2 weeks ago, yeah, worldwide.
Yeah, right? Or the English version online, right? So immediately, my first thought was remote clinics are pressed to get supplies in time because it takes hours to get to them. Beyond visual line of sight is going to be here shortly because you need to get that to be able to do the pipeline inspection. So you're getting beyond visual line of sight certification. You get a cargo drone, and you have a need for medicine. Right there, I believe, is going to be one of the first applications of drone delivery service in Guyana. I see in the region there was some pizza delivery happening. I think it was by Digicel or somebody.
Yeah, Digicel was doing phones and hamper and some other
Yeah,
items
yeah,
and stuff
yeah,
over
yeah.
the Christmas. Yeah.
But I think that medical delivery sector in Guyana is going to be the next frontier of drone operations and drone delivery. It's going to solve a lot of logistical issues when it comes to getting anti-venom into the regions. We got enough snake.
Yeah, I've heard some stories.
Medicine and clinics that that are so far away that you got to take a trek. You got to trek to go get them. That right there. I mean, I'm excited. I mean, I am almost ready to have that proposal down to the Ministry of Health. Like, listen, Dragonfly can produce that. Can provide you that solution too.
All right. So, I mean, Dragonfly also might be looking for some drone pilots just now.
Correct. The landscape is very.
Was your advice to the young people that maybe looking to get into this industry? Dragonfly looking for 20 pilots to start to do deliveries to the interior just now. Was the message you're giving to them now to get them prepared for this?
All right. So, firstly, everything needs structure and everything needs organization. If you're interested in being a drone pilot, the first thing you ought to do is start doing your research. One, right? You might not afford to be able to buy your drone now, but start doing the research, right? Secondly, there's an organization known as the Guyana Drone Operators Association. All right, get yourself involved, be a part of it. That way, as a body, the organization will be able to advocate, will be able to engage, and you can get shared lessons, things that would have happened before, mistakes they would have made, and what pathways you can take. Because the drone landscape is so wide: energy, infrastructure, agriculture, surveying, construction, delivery. There's so many things you can get done, and there's real estate that you can decide to specialize. You can decide to get involved in a sector that is best suited for you and your needs. All right. So I would encourage them to come. I would encourage them to be a part of it. Ensure that you do your research. Ensure you join the Guyana Drone Operators Association. And before you pick up a drone and decide to fly, go to the Civil Aviation Authority. You can check their website. I think they have this form is online. And get yourself your drone permit.
Nice.
Don't go fly without your drone permit.
Description. Nice.
Right? You gotta be responsible.
And be familiar with the rules. Yeah. Be familiar with the rules surrounding your operation.
Correct.
Locally.
Get it right the first time. Right? And then happy flying.
So you have is it the Guyana Drone Operators Association?
Yes.
Do they have any other specific initiatives or organizations surrounding drones that you want to highlight in Guyana?
All right, yes. So, a little rain by me, sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes, I know the Guyana Drone Operation Association has done some work with girls in STEM.
Mhm.
I think they were last year they done some work with some girls in the National Library, encouraging girls in STEM and teaching them about drone operations. Uh, Not necessarily as an organization, but individual members on their own would do work when it comes to environmental research, being a part of providing solutions for indigenous communities, monitoring.
Right.
So individual companies as well in the association, for their part, do give back and do get involved in giving their insights into the sector.
Is the association involved in any way with
They give me a lot of
the
questions on this association, like if I run the association. I don't run the association, I'm just a member.
well, right, so the association has a part to play in making on the rules as well, or do they have any input with regards to
Making the
the rules,
laws.
any sort of input into what the laws are and the shaping of
Well,
legislation for
they're
operations of drones?
naturally they would, meet and consult and speak with the relevant authorities on it. But again, I can't speak on the behalf of the Dragon the Drone
All right,
Operators Association. I'm
that's
but a
fine.
member.
That's
All
all
right,
right.
but they're the I would want to say the pioneers. That organization has some of the pioneers of drone operations in Guyana. A really uh, good cross section, wealth of knowledge in the drone sector in Guyana. So that's why I encourage any young aspirant, you know, get registered and get involved and be a
That's
part.
cool, man. So I will put the link for the Guyana Drone Operators Association in the show notes. Um, so that is it for me. The last thing in this week's episode would be your submission for the drone video of the week, which you mentioned earlier.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes. So this is my submission
so
for the drone photo for the week. You call it
video of the week.
drone video of the week. So this is what I spoke with earlier about my drone operations in the Demerara River. What you're seeing is the Zenghi. It's a cutter dredge that did some work in the Demerara River to increase the depth. Again, one of my most challenging operations to date, and
All
definitely I'll never forget this day.
right. Nice. Thank you very much for that. So Brian, what is some of the best ways that people who want to reach out to you could connect with you?
All right. So you can find me on all social media platforms, Dragonfly Guyana, or you can catch me on my website, www.dragonflyguyana.com. I'm on LinkedIn. I am on YouTube. So yeah, just hit me up and I'll be sure to answer your questions. Yeah.
All right. So and I'll make sure to put those links as well in the description so
Yeah.
anybody who's interested in talking to Brian could get on to him
Sure.
directly. Thank you very much for your time today, Brian. It was a pleasure speaking to you, and thank you for sharing that information
Anytime.
with us.
Yes, I
We have
definitely
to do this again.
enjoy the time here, and I commend you on this.
Thank you very much. We try and we keep it going as much as possible. Thank you very much for the
Yeah,
support.
Joe's ain't going
and
nowhere. We're here for a very long time.
the,
They're gonna vex with me.
All right.
They're gonna vex with me
Yeah.
because we going nowhere. Almost every single sector wants a drone solution. Environment, road construction, everybody
And
wants
there's
a drone
one
solution.
for it.
Sorry?
And there is one for every sector.
Yeah, there is. And it'll only keep getting better. If we are already at this stage now, and you already have drones for so many things, 5 years from now, we'll have longer endurance because the battery's going to get better. We will have greater capabilities, more geospatial capabilities, more accurate surveying. We'll have longer range, so we might be seeing ourselves with a longer transmission radius. The future is bright, beautiful.
Yep.
Drone is the way to go right about now.
Hopefully it'll be around for a very, very long time in the Caribbean.
Yep. The robots are taking over. But now we in control.
Don't say that. Enough of them ain't not comfortable enough with us yet.
Do you see the DJI Dock?
Yeah.
It's a DJI Dock, right?
Yeah, the dock, yeah.
Good. This is version 1. Autonomous operations. So version 5 could be interesting.
And you know, just as I published the episode for this week, there's a video that came out with the BYD, a Chinese company that has a dock
Yes, BYD, yes,
into the
yes.
car.
Yes.
Dread, they could have given half an hour earlier and I would have been in the episode.
Yes. That is interesting. You know, right about now, I think the only thing that we have that is challenging us is the battery life, you know.
Yeah.
Once we can sort out that battery life.
And that relates to so many things as well.
Yep.
Drones,
the electrical cars as well.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Once we can figure out that battery, it's a whole new world.
Yeah. Yep. I'm looking forward
All right,
to
buddy.
it. All right, man.
So that was my conversation with Mr. Brian Smith of Dragonfly Drone Solutions in Guyana. And as always, all of his contact information will be in the description for this week's episode. And you can feel free to reach out to Brian if you want to get some more information, if you want to have a chat with him. Like I said, all the links will be in the description. And that's it for this week. If you enjoyed this podcast, feel free to share it with someone that you think it may bring value to, someone who is just entering the world of drones, someone who's already in the world of drones, and you think, may want to learn a little bit more about the drone community and things that are happening in the region around the world of drones. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all other podcast platforms. And you can also find us on YouTube. You can also follow us on your favorite social media platforms, and all links will be in the description. Thank you for joining me this week, and I will talk to you soon.